at the age of 15. This was it. That lasted maybe 5 years. You know, went up, you know, developed the gambling habit, used to lose $1,000 a day. And $1,000 a day in gas game. Until one day, somebody once again saw me with a lot of money, set me up. They shot me 3 times, close range, while holding my 3-month-old daughter. My daughter was just born. I was in a hotel room. Somebody I was in there with was plotting on me the whole night. They pulled a gun, shot me close range 3 times. Once again, can't say how I survived. But, you know, once again, and I'm not a preacher, so, and I don't know what you guys believe in, whether it's God, Allah, but that's my personal belief. I know that God saved me to be able to tell this story to y'all. Point blank, bottom line. So, I got out of that situation. I moved back to Goldsboro, North Carolina, got back in the church, because that scares you. When you're looking down the barrel of a gun, nowhere to go, and you're cornered in the room, the door right there, and the person right here, I don't have nowhere to go. And I'm looking like this. I'm wrestling against the gun and everything. But that scares you. So I said, okay, how in the world did I get here? From being that little kid that played the drums in church and loved, you know, writing poetry in 5th grade. You understand? But I got caught up into the things that were put in front of me. So I started writing. This is my first book right here. It's called Brushes with Death. Blood of Jesus. Now, once again, the brushes with death stem from all the danger. That was just one dangerous experience that I went through. So I'm gonna pass this around so y'all can look at it real quick, read the back up. That's the first book I started writing. But in 3 months, I had half of that book finished after I moved home. But once again, what happened? I ran into an obstacle. The North Carolina Board of Real Estate, because I was selling real estate up there too. So I was trying to sell drugs and sell real estate in Virginia, but once again, it caught up to me. But so I went down to North Carolina, applied for the real estate license, trying to straighten up my life, go straight and narrow. They looked at the charge that I had because I didn't mention when I was shot there was drugs at the scene. So even though I was shot, even though I went to the hospital, before I was out of the hospital, the police was already there. Like, yo, who drugs were those? They didn't care. They didn't care that I almost died. No, who drugs them? Okay, we're gonna charge you with those drugs. And I ended up getting an 8-year probation sentence for that, you know what I mean, about 6 months later. But nevertheless, the real estate board looked at my record and was like, nah, we're gonna deny you. So what did that do? That let me get discouraged. I got discouraged, went back out, you know, started drinking again, started, you know, just put the book to the side. The half-finished book laid there for 2.5 years. Until I decided to move back to Virginia. I got tired of just sitting around Goldsboro again, the little small hometown. Everybody knew me, feeling like a loser. Dang, I done messed up. So I'm going back to Virginia. Same day I go back to Virginia with the same mindset to go sell drugs. I get up there. The homeboys that I used to hang around with, I go hang around with them. We go to a 4th of July party. It's 4th of July. I go all the way out with them. We go to an after party. At after party, a shootout break out. Who's there with drugs on? Me. I go back to jail. 5-6 months. They violate my probation. They give me another chance, but they say I can't go back to North Carolina. Now, so now I'm in Virginia. I have to stay with my child's mother. She was nice enough to let me stay with her. But once again, that's when I said, okay, look, man, I done been shot. I mean, I'm going to jail. I'm 35 years old at this time. Now, who the oldest here? Who the oldest is? Like, how old are you? 18. So that's 17 years later when I was 18, when I first started making. I finally said, look, man, I can't do this no more, man. I don't want to be in jail. I don't want to keep, you know, dodging bullets. I got to do something. So I got out of jail and enrolled in community college, Tidewater Community College. I went to college every day, start writing this book. By the end of the semester, I finished that book. I published that book November the 24th, 2012. So I thought, okay, now I made it. Walking around campus, they got a big sign up for me. February 26th, Arthur Richard Taylor speaks on Black excellence or something like that. You know what I'm saying? February 26th is my birthday. So it was all set up. February 26th come, do a good event. Everybody likes it. You know, the staff, the students, everybody came to support. But then I met a girl. Who I used to date her friend back when I was selling drugs. But she saw me. She saw me all in my suit and tie, and you know, she was like, "Oh, Richard, you done came a long way. I saw your name on the thing." And yeah. You know, so long story short, we got involved. Bad situation. I wasn't thinking. I got involved with her knowing that I had other girls on the side. And I mean, this is just a side note in life, but don't try to be a player. I mean, you know, everybody want a lot of girls, but if you're going to be a player, don't play with their heart, because this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? Tell them, look, okay, I like you, girl, but I'm going to have another girlfriend on the side. That's the best. I mean, matter of fact, that's all stopping. But
keep it real.
But don't, I mean, so long story short, me and her had an off and on in relationship. We got in an argument one night. I said some things that was real ugly to her. I told her I really, really felt. Long story short, when I woke up in the morning, there was 4 police officers around my bed. They didn't ask me no questions. They just told me to stand up, put my hands behind my back. They walked me out of the house. She was there ironing her clothes. Long story short, she told the police that I raped, kidnapped, abducted her, abducted with intent to foul, all of those things. I didn't find this out until I was talking to the detectives in the precinct. I told them, no, sir, that's not what happened. You know, but it was her word against mine. They took me to jail, and I was charged. Now, I stayed in jail 5 months, fighting for my innocence. My lawyer wanted me to take a plea because that was his job. My court-appointed lawyer, I said, no, I didn't do it, sir. So I had to end up defending myself. Long story short, I fired that court-appointed lawyer. Then they gave me another lawyer who actually did his job, and he gave me all the information I needed to prove my innocence. And after a 5-day trial, I was found not guilty of all charges. And that's where this book came about. So I'm going to pass this around too. I started this over here, so I got that one over there. But that one right here, that's wrongfully accused, rightfully acquitted. Now I wrote that book. I started writing that book. Now that happened, like I said, only 3 months after I published that book. So I had just beginning to kind of build my life up. But what did that do? That was another setback. Now, I didn't do anything that she said, but I do take responsibility for my actions. Like I said, you know, I played with her heart. I led her on, made her think we was gonna be something that we was not. And then that was her way of getting back at me. So once again, it's all about taking accountability of your own actions in the situation. You know, you might not be at fault like in everything, in every situation that, you know, got y'all in this program, but you gotta look back and say, okay, what could I have done different to avoid being in here? You know what I'm saying? So basically, 3 months after that, I had a headache. I went to the doctor. They said I had 2 brain aneurysms. Anybody know what a brain aneurysm is? What's a brain aneurysm?
Blood clot burst.
Yep. Thank you. And normally people die. Like, people don't find out that they have them until they're already dead. Like, people like fall out in the ground. They be like, what did he die from? He died from brain aneurysm. I had 2. Because of the stress of the trial, probably because of everything else, trying to rebuild my life after being wrongfully accused, my name being slandered. I went to the doctor for a headache. He was like, yo, Richard, I don't know how you made it. I don't know how you made it here. Like, you got 2 brain aneurysms. And I had a headache all week, but what made me go to the doctor was I felt something pop. Like you said, it burst. Like the headache was them like forming. But then when it popped, boom, felt like somebody was squeezing my head in a vice, just like that. Squeezing. And so I told my roommate, take me to the doctor. Long story short, he said, look, Richard, we can go through your leg and coil one of them. But we can only reach one of them. He saw both of them on the little CAT scan thing. He said, we can only reach one of them. But we don't know if that's the one that busts. So we can either go through your head or we can take a chance, but you might not live into tomorrow, right? So I'm like, man, going through my head. I don't know if y'all ever seen somebody like with a big head surgery or something like that, and their head all like disfigured or something. Like, that's what I was thinking about. But throughout everything, he told me, okay, you could not walk again, you could die, you'd be paralyzed, you might be blind, you might be deaf. Once again, I kept my faith in God. I prayed. I called my dad, who was a minister. I called my other friend, who was a minister. Long story short, a 5-hour surgery. I walked out of the hospital 10 days later. No side effects. Like, I'm still talking. Like, 2 days later, I was still in school, so I'm at the thing doing my homework. The doctor was like, yo, what's wrong with you, man? Chill. Like, you just had brain surgery. But that's how determined I was to make it, you know, to rebuild my life, because mind you, it was only 3 months after being falsely accused. But that's another thing. Some things in life we ain't gonna be able to handle. Like when I was on that hospital bed, won't nothing I could do. Won't nothing. I was like, my life is totally in the hands of this doctor. Like all my toughness, all my smarts, all my sneakiness, that really let me know how helpless I was in life. You know what I mean? When the doctor said, okay, well now we gotta have the surgery right now. So that's another thing that is humility, that humbled me. And so after that, and this is the insanity about drugs too. I don't know how many of you guys have experienced, but this is the insanity. 10 days, the same day they let me out of the hospital, I went, after the brain surgery, with staples still in my head, I went back to North Carolina with my homeboy and got a bag of cocaine and started sniffing. With my head still throbbing from surgery. Now that's the insanity of addiction. So I advise you guys, if you ain't got into hard drugs yet, please, man, please stay away from it. Because it grabs you. It grabs you and you don't even think about your health. Like who is that crazy? They just open up my brain. But I'm gonna go get something that makes blood rush to my brain just for a feeling. Could have died instantly. Once again, and I give glory to God because that's my belief. So after that, I spent the next 4 years. Both of those books are on the shelf. Like I'm not even promoting them. I'm out selling real estate and timeshares in Virginia Beach. Still partying, still using cocaine, still doing everything for the next 4 years. That was in 2014 when I had brain surgery. 2018, I've been using cocaine, drinking all the while. Just one particular night, I go get a bag of cocaine, I take 2 sniffs. Next thing you know, everything starts getting dizzy. Never felt like this before in my life. Tried to pull up in my apartment, can't even park. Can't even turn around, I feel like I'm gonna fall out. I got out the car, walked fell down. Tried to get up, hold on to a car. I let go of the car, I felt like somebody picked me up, slammed me down, but wasn't nobody there. I just hit the ground that hard. My body went paralyzed. My mouth did like that. And I'm sitting on the ground, right? Stroke. Basically. Stroke right then and there. And now I'm just laying on the ground thinking, okay, this is it, because I know it's a stroke because I seen, enough people in life with their arms paralyzed and their legs to know, okay, well, what happened to you? I had a stroke. So I know, okay, well, this is over. Ain't nobody here to save me. It's 9 o'clock at night. I'm laying in between 2 cars. All of a sudden, some man come by. Hey, homie, you need help? And I say, hey, because I couldn't talk. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, man, yeah, you need help. So he called and I'm glad I'm here to laugh about it because, like, it's miraculous, man. Like you said, like, I had so many chances. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Don't take your chances for granted because everybody don't get the same amount of chances I got. But long story short, I'm laying on the thing. Land on the thing in the ambulance. The ambulance people talk to me. Hey man, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I can't talk now. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell them I'm having a stroke, but I can't talk. I want to tell them about my past brain aneurysms. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't talk. Can't talk. I'm like, man, this is really it. And I'm paralyzed. Like, life is over. Like, I ain't gonna never get no more girls or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like. And so then I get to the doctor's office. The hospital. The nurse comes in, she walks. They already had the little triage thing. They ready to see me and everything. They had everything ready for me. She was like, what's wrong? I said, I'm having a stroke. And everything came back. Like my movement, my voice. And once again, they kept me for 3 days. Guess what I did 3 days after they let me out? Can anybody guess?
Went got a bag.
Same thing.
Went what?
We ain't got a bag.
So when I was having a stroke, I stashed the bag right there by the tree trunk. But I went right back to the same exact spot, looking for that same cocaine they gave me a stroke. Now that's the definition of insanity. That's the definite. Luckily for me, it wasn't there. Like somebody found it, and I'm grateful because, I mean, that's how strong my addiction was. You know what I mean? That's crazy, right? That's crazy to think about. Look, I just got out of the hospital for this, but I'm going to go right back and do some more just to get that pill. So that's when I realized I needed help. Fortunately for me, my probation officer, over that 8-year period from when I got shot until then, I had failed 11 drug tests.
Damn.
11 drug tests. But he had worked with me. He was a Christian too. So every time I failed a test, he would send me to a drug class. He would witness to me. He would tell me, what about your daughter? He would make me think about things. And I knew he was right. But as long as he's not violating me, what is my dumb tail gonna do?
Keep doing it.
Keep doing it, right? Long story short, in May of 2019, 2 years. Matter of fact, right around this time last year, I was in jail. 2 years ago. 2019. What's this? 2021. I was in jail. I was in jail for that he said, look, Richard, you're supposed to get off for probation in November, but I gotta send all your paperwork into the courts because they're gonna review the case. Like this, how it goes when you're about to get off probation. He sent all the paperwork in, even including the dirty urines. And he called me back about a week later and said, like, man, well, it's out of my hands, man. Virginia Beach, they're gonna violate you. You know what I'm saying? He was like, I didn't do it, but I have to send the paperwork in when you're getting off of probation. So they looked at the paper like, you ain't been violating this guy. But once again, that was God's grace on my life. But nevertheless, he violated me at the right time because I spent 2 months in jail. They was trying to give me 2 years. And once again, I don't want to get all religious on you, whatever, but I asked God for 3 specific things in there. I fasted. Anybody know what fasting is? Not eating. I fasted every day for 3 days. I asked God for 3 specific things. I said, let me get out on October 7th, which was my court date. Let me get out. Let me get off probation because in Virginia, when you violate, if you had 8 years and you're on your 7th year, when you violate, you got to start the whole 8 years over. So I was looking at a whole nother 8 years of probation. I asked God to let me off probation. Then I also asked him to let the judge's heart turn in my favor. Right there. So on the day of the court, the DA comes in and say, Richard, man, you're looking at 2 years, but we're going to agree to give you 1 year. And if you do this drug program while you're in there, you might get out in 8 months. But I told her, I was like, well, I thought you said this, that, and the other. I agreed to it. But when I got it in the court, I watched God answer all 3 prayers. The judge looked at the paperwork and was like, wait a minute, this case is 10 years old. Why are you trying to give him? Okay, never mind. And then he looked at something else like, wait a minute, he hasn't been in trouble. Why is he being charged all these points for 2 years? And the reason was because I had been accused of those crimes. Now, I hadn't been convicted of them. I had been accused, and the judge said, well, he got charged not guilty with these. Why is that still being held against him? The DA was like, well, that's how it goes, Your Honor. Then the judge was like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. Y'all already have agreement. But I know one thing. If it was left up to me, I wouldn't give him a year in jail, And when he said that, I was like, wow. So instead of taking a plea agreement, I said, no, I'm going to let the judge handle it. So the judge, the DA didn't like it. My court and lawyer didn't like it. But the judge, I said, no, Judge, I don't want that plea. I want you to decide my fate. So the judge, my mom wrote a letter about, my dad being in the military. Just so happened, the judge was in the military too. So him and my father started talking. The judge was talking from the bench over me to my father, talking about military stuff. Then they read I was from Goldsboro, North Carolina. He was from the next town over. Oh yeah, y'all, like him and my parents are talking like old friends. So that's when I realized that God just turned that judge part of my faith. You know, once again, not to get too religious, but basically he answered all three of my prayers. I didn't get no time. I got out of jail and I got off probation. It was right then, right now. This place reminds me of a place I went to. I said I'm going to get help. So I went to this place called Life Changers Outreach in Asheville, North Carolina. And I stayed for 4 months. Supposed to have been a year, but because COVID came, I got scared and went back home. But ever since then, I've been clean, free of drugs, free of any criminal activity. And thank y'all. Appreciate that. And so in July of last year, I wrote this book as a tribute to my father. It's called Son of a Preacher Man. Now, it's about my dad. It's a tribute, right? Because my dad, he didn't grow up with his father. He grew up with an abusive stepdad who beat his mama, who sold, who ran a liquor house, who beat him because he wanted his son. You know, he had a terrible life coming up. And he actually got older, about 18, 19, started using drugs, almost OD'd off heroin at 19, but then he turned his life around, got saved, and then became a pastor. And he's been a minister since I was born. So I didn't know all of this until I was writing that book. So, but basically that book is about his life as a young child growing up with a hard life, but him making the decision to say, okay, I ain't gonna be like my dad and not be there. I ain't gonna be like my stepdad and abuse my wife and my family. Or drink and waste all the money. Nah, I'm gonna be a responsible man. And he did that. And so that book details the things that I learned. Y'all like? Yeah, so but that book details the things I learned from my father and the things that a child learns from the father. So it's a lot of good jewels in there about things I learned, but also the overall importance of fatherhood. And you know, I don't know everybody's particular situation, but I know how important a father was to me. Even though like, I had a father and I still went left. So I know for anybody in here who doesn't have a relationship with their father or don't know their father, I know how hard scratch that. I don't know how hard it is. Because I always had my dad day. So my hat actually goes off to y'all because, you know, I wouldn't never know how to feel. You know what I'm saying? I know if my dad won't there, I'd be dead or doing a long sentence because my mama couldn't handle me. You know what I'm saying? It was my dad present to say, what you say, boy? You know, and I'm like, okay, I had to back down. But, you know, for those who may not have that father figure, don't let it deter you. If you know how you feel, you know, without having a father, then don't do that to your children when you have it. You know, that's pretty much the message of that book. And the latest one, Blue Lights in My Rear View. Now this right here, this was born out of the George Floyd situation last year. Everybody saw that, right? You know, everybody heard about it if you didn't see it. So everybody else took to the streets, took to the, you know, social media. I took to how I cope with it, which was writing. You know what I mean? So this book right here, I released this in February of this year, Blue Lights in My Rear View. Now this details the history of what we're seeing today as it regards to law enforcement treatment of black males. And it details all the way back from the history of slavery until now. What we're seeing is nothing new if you do the whole history. But I also put my experiences in it, and it just tells about some of the experiences I had with law enforcement. Now, a lot of times I brought the situations on myself. A lot of times I didn't. But it just shows like the kind of debt that we are stacked against as a young, you know, black male here in America. I mean, look at the makeup of, you know, who's in. We got one of our Caucasian brothers in here, but you know, the rest of them, you know, are melanated. So we got to look at, you know, all your friends, all your fathers, all your uncles who have been down that path, and you got to look, okay, well, how can I avoid this? You know, how can I not go that route? So that book right there just tells a lot of jewels on certain things that you can avoid, certain things that you can watch out for, to end up either, you know, being behind bars or worse, in the grave because of not only police officers, but because of somebody who looks like you as well. We all know that we do a lot of self-harm to each other as well. So we gotta all look at that, man. And so that's my story in a nutshell. Those are my books in a nutshell. But my goal is to help inspire young guys like you. You know what I mean? Because everybody in here has a talent. Everybody has a gift. And I don't know what you guys like doing, but ever since I was a little kid, I loved reading. Like my mom said, I was reading at 2 or 3. I love reading. You know what I'm saying? And I read so many books. And so when writing a book came natural, because I read so many, I know how a book's supposed to go. So, but I allow what I like to do to be influenced or put to the side what everybody else to do, or I don't like this word, but I use it, or what society says I should do. Society said I should be a thug. Society said I should smoke weed. I should drink. I should hustle. I should bang. I should steal. You know what I'm saying? So I say, okay, well, forget what I want to do. I'm gonna do what everybody else thinks I should do, and that's the biggest mistake anybody can. Like I think I seen somebody working on a building up there doing some work. I don't know who that was, but I looked. I was like, he really interested in that. Whatever you do, so whatever working with your hands, plenty of money. If y'all learn a skill in here, plumbing, carpentry, electrician, pipe fitting, painting, plenty of money in working for yourself. Today, I don't work for nobody else. I go around and sell my books to anybody who will buy them. I go out every day and sell my books. But this is a way for me to make money, and honestly, I got more money in my life than I ever had selling drugs right now. By doing something positive, hustling, rapping, even balling. Like sports is good too, but everybody can't go to the NFL. Everybody ain't gonna make it, you know what I mean, to sign that deal. So find something that you like to do. Work with your mind. Work with your hands. If you like mechanics, if you like drawing, if you like sewing. I know it seems lame, but yeah, if you like sewing, like you'll be surprised how much money you probably can walk around and sell blankets to women for. Women like that kind of stuff, and they spend the most money too. So if you're looking for something to do, for real, like cater whatever your business is, perfume, dresses, microcourse bags, whatever, you'll be surprised at how much money you can make when you put your mind to it and think outside the box. Because if everybody is doing this right here, then you're gonna have a lot of competition over there. But if you find something that nobody else is doing, especially at your age, wow, bro, what you got, what you doing? Yeah, okay, yeah, I support you. Oh, you making t-shirts? Oh yeah, what they say? I support you. Just think of something that you can do. So, I know y'all in a position now, I don't even know nobody's individual story. But I know y'all in a position now where y'all gotta achieve certain things to return back into a normal, way of life. So use this time wisely to sit and think. Like y'all got the best opportunity right now to sit and think of a plan, a master plan. So don't sit around and be joking. We're joking is cool. I know you're gonna joke. You're young. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of energy. But sit around and think of a master plan. What I'm gonna do? Okay, when I get back to the neighborhood, how can I stand out? How can I be different than everybody? You know what I mean? How can I do something like write a book? I publish a book. He got my information. If you sit down and write, I put it like this for you. You know what I mean? If you got something in your mind, a story, like I'm literally, like I'll do it for free, as long as you're serious. And so you can get out of here and be like, yeah, I wrote a book. And here it is, right here. It's on Amazon. You can get it, or I hook you up with my friend. But all I'm saying is find out something you can do that's positive, bro. I'm telling you. Because y'all at a point in life where it can either go left or it can go right. Right now, you're in a great place right here in the middle that you can do something extraordinary. You can take what that sign said when I wrote up in here, using past
Separate from bright future.
Hey.
Who don't know that? You don't know that? You don't know you weren't here?
No.
See, but what it say again?
Separate from bright future.
That's what I'm telling you, man. Now's the time of separation. And it's funny because you are separated right now. You're separated from everybody. Your family, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins. If anybody got children, your children. You're in a perfect place where you can separate that part from the part where you want to go, man. I see potential in all of y'all eyes. I'm looking at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at you. And I'm telling you, yo, it's real, man. I see it, man. I see it. So I just want to encourage y'all, man, to use your time here wisely, man, and don't, you know, take life for granted. Don't take your youth for granted, because I'm telling you, yesterday I was 18, bro. I'm 43, but it was just yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I was 18. You know what I'm saying? Running around in college. That time will go by like this, and then you don't want to be 40 years old just getting your life together. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? You got 18, 19-year-olds trading that Forex stuff online who talk they self, making hundreds and even $1,000 a day. 18, 19. Think outside the box. They started off with like $100. You know what I mean? Forex. Look that up. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all got great minds. Y'all can put y'all minds to anything and make it succeed if you focus on it, just like you focus on anything else. You know what I mean? Anything else that's criminal. Because I did it. I focused on how to shoot the dice just the right way. You know what I'm saying? I focused on how to read the card. But once again, that doesn't amount to anything. That doesn't amount to nothing. But if you can take that same energy and focus on that house. Okay, look at that. Okay, there's some bolts right there. Okay, I gotta go from the side right there. Okay, some metal pieces right there. I can build it. You know what I'm saying? They building houses every day, man. There's so many ways to make money legitly that it's no reason for nobody in here to be doing nothing different, man. But I want to thank y'all for just giving me y'all attention, y'all time. I can talk to y'all for hours, man, for real.